What if the travel insurance you trusted, paid for, and bragged about to your family was already useless? Before your plane even took off? That sounds dramatic, I know, but stay with me. Because in 2026, this exact mistake is quietly destroying travel plans, draining savings accounts, and leaving people stranded in foreign hospitals with bills so high they stop answering their phones. And it doesn't happen because travelers skip insurance. No, it happens because they buy it and assume they're protected. Because nobody told them about the one invisible loophole buried so deep in the fine print that most agents don't even mention it. And I learned this the hard way when a retired couple I met in Istanbul last year thought their policy covered everything, only to discover that everything actually meant everything, except what just happened to you. And that's the story you need to hear if you're traveling in 2026, because insurance companies are changing rules quietly, without headlines, without warnings, and without mercy. And the most dangerous part is how small the mistake looks at first, because it's not skipping a policy. It's not lying on purpose. It's something tiny, like checking the wrong box, forgetting one detail, or doing one spontaneous thing you didn't think counted. And suddenly, your coverage collapses like it was never there. Gone, finished, void. And let's talk about the biggest killer first: pre-existing conditions. Because in 2026, this is no longer just about serious illnesses like heart disease or diabetes. No, now it includes anxiety you once took meds 4 or 5 years ago, a back pain you mentioned to a doctor casually, high blood pressure that was under control, even sleep apnea you forgot you were diagnosed with. And here's the trick: insurance companies don't care if it's stable, minor, or hasn't bothered you in years. If it existed before the policy date and you didn't disclose it exactly the way they define disclosure, they can deny the entire claim, not part of it, the whole thing. And they won't do it immediately. They'll wait until the bill arrives, until you're vulnerable, until you're already home. And then they'll say, sorry, claim denied, policy voided, and you'll reread the policy like it magically changed overnight. But it didn't. It was always there, hiding in legal language nobody reads. And this is getting worse in 2026 because insurers are now using shared medical databases across borders, meaning that doctor visit you forgot in the US can be matched with a hospital visit in Europe or Asia. And they only need one connection to justify rejection. Just one. And then there's the second trap, the one travelers really don't see coming: activities. Because insurance companies in 2026 are redefining what counts as adventure. And it's not just skydiving or scuba diving anymore. It's hiking above certain altitudes, renting a scooter in Bali, parasailing at a resort, snorkeling without a guide, riding an ATV for fun, even ziplining at a tourist park. And here's the cruel part: you don't even need to get hurt during the activity itself. You could slip later, hours later. But if they can trace the injury back to something listed as hazardous, coverage gone. And they'll say, you should have purchased an adventure rider, a rider nobody mentioned and you didn't know existed. And people assume travel insurance works like health insurance. But it doesn't. It works like a contract looking for an exit. And 2026 policies are filled with exits, more than ever, because travel, chaos, climate issues, and medical inflation are costing insurers billions. So they're tightening everything quietly. And now, let me tell you about the third trap, the one that ruins entire trips before they even start: trip cancellation timing. Because in 2026, insurers are enforcing something called known event clauses aggressively, meaning if something was publicly known, even vaguely, before you bought the policy, they can deny your claim. A storm forecast, a political protest, airline instability rumors, visa delays, airport strikes, and people think, well, I bought insurance, so I'm safe. But if the risk was foreseeable, they say you accepted it. And what counts as foreseeable is decided by them, and they'll pull old news articles, tweets, even government advisories as proof. And then there's the mistake almost everyone makes, assuming honesty equals safety. But with insurance, honesty isn't enough. Precision is, wording is, timing is, and if you disclose something but not exactly how they define it, it's treated as non-disclosure, and that's legal somehow. And here's where 2026 gets even uglier: digital forms. Because now policies are mostly bought online, fast, mobile, one click, and those little drop-downs. And yes, no boxes don't let you explain nuance. And later they'll say, "You clicked no, case closed." Even if you thought, well, technically yes, but not really. Insurance doesn't care about technically. It cares about checkboxes. And now, let's talk about duration limits. Because long trips are exploding in popularity. Retirees, digital nomads, slow travelers. But many policies in 2026 quietly cap coverage at 30, 60, or 90 days per trip, even if the policy says annual, and if you overstay by 1 day. 1. Claims after that date are denied. No warnings, no reminders, and people find out when it's too late. And then there's the hospital choice trap. Oh, this one hurts. Because in emergencies, you don't choose logic, you choose survival. But insurers in 2026 are enforcing network requirements internationally. Meaning, if you don't go to their approved facility when possible, even in a panic, they can reduce or deny coverage. And travelers don't know this while bleeding or panicking or struggling to breathe, and yet it still counts against them. And let me tell you something uncomfortable. Insurance companies aren't villains, they're systems, and systems reward rules, not fairness. And travelers assume common sense applies. But contracts don't use common sense, they use definitions. And definitions are where coverage dies. And now here's the part nobody on YouTube is really saying. The loophole that ties all of this together. Intent doesn't matter. Outcome doesn't matter. Only alignment with policy language matters. Meaning you can do everything right in your mind and still lose everything on paper. And that's why 2026 is different. Because insurers are no longer forgiving small mistakes. They're monetizing them, and the scariest cases aren't extreme travelers. They're normal people, families, seniors, first-time international flyers, people who thought insurance meant peace of mind, and instead it became a false sense of security. And I've seen people cry over denied claims for things as simple as renting a car without declaring it, or extending a trip due to illness without notifying the insurer within 24 hours. Yes, that's another clause. Notification windows. Miss it, denied. And you think surely there must be consumer protection. But when policies are international, jurisdiction gets messy. And that's exactly where companies thrive, in the gray zones. And if you're thinking, okay, this is scary, but what do I actually do? The answer isn't fear, it's awareness. Because once you understand how these traps work, you can avoid them, but only if you slow down, read differently, disclose excessively, not minimally. Ask uncomfortable questions before you buy, not after, and document everything. Screenshots, emails, timestamps, because proof is power. And here's the final truth nobody likes. Travel insurance in 2026 is not a safety net, it's a test. And the only travelers who pass are the ones who treat it like a legal contract. Not a promise, because the moment you assume you're covered, that's usually when you're not. And if this video saved you from one denied claim, one hospital bill, one ruined trip, then it already did more than most policies ever will.